Um, I want to talk about this debate that's ongoing around the Oscars. Um, we're still about a month to go, thereabouts. I believe it's in late February, and it looks like this thing is rumbling on and on and on. Now, I was in two minds whether to upload this video or not because with contentious issues, I always think, well, am I going to be adding anything to it, or if it is my view that people should get over this, so therefore should I not make a further issue out of it? But I'm thinking, well, I might express certain reflections on this that other people will recognize and maybe get people to see it in a different way. I don't know. So that's why I'm sharing my views. Um, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, there's a debate, an increasingly vocal debate around these Oscars over the fact that all 10 acting nominations are for white people. So five white actors, five white actresses. Apparently, it's the second year in a row. So there's this furore, sort of led by people like Spike Lee, Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith, and others are joining in now, over the alleged white privilege being shown at the Oscars. Um, I think I think the argument is ridiculous, and I want to break it down into several areas. Firstly, I always find it quite incredible that you have multimillionaire, famous people complaining about that they're being hard done by. I take a very slim view of that, regardless of what race they are. And there's white actors that do it as well. And I like Will Smith actually. I think he's a great actor. I've liked and appreciated a number of his films, and I think the man has got incredible talent. But I am disappointed that he's then kind of jumped on the bandwagon with this. I mean, it's his right, but I think he's wrong. It's his right to have that position, but I think his perception of it is wrong. Um, I can't help but think, with all the issues uh, that African Americans face, to make such a big issue out of this is misguided. I mean, I do concede that there are areas where Black Americans disproportionately are impacted. For example, when it comes to police violence, there's no question about it. That is disproportionate towards black people. I don't think anyone can honestly dispute that. There's issues like black on black crime. There are pockets of severe poverty, although, frankly, that could be seen in white America as well. People will scoff at that, but if you go into rural Mississippi, um, into a predominantly white township, you're not exactly going to see luxury there. So, one thing that really strikes me about this whole debate is the US perspective on it, because the Oscars is an American event. It is very prestigious, but it's sort of become like this template for what America's supposed to be like. And I think that's a real pity. In other words, if there's this allegation that the Oscars are racist, it's like America is racist. And I don't believe it is. I believe there is racism in America, but the idea that America is at its core a racist society, totally disagree with. I don't think there's any comparison between today and the civil rights era. In fact, someone pointed out a valid pointer there. Martin Luther King himself said he wants to get to a situation where black people are not judged for being black. And yet, actually, it was Martin Luther King Day quite recently, I believe. So clearly, people aren't learning his lesson here because they're still viewing this whole thing through the prism of race. Now, other people are getting involved. Charlotte Rampling is in slightly hot water, the British actress, because she said it's actually racism against whites. Michael Caine said you shouldn't, you cannot vote for someone because they're black. Then the other side has refuted that, saying, oh, it's not because we believe they should get awards because they're black. So it's this constant back forth thing. And unfortunately, it is becoming kind of broken down by racial lines. And that's a real pity because I think in some ways it's going to hurt the black community. Why? Because in the next Oscars, almost certainly they will award it to a black guy or a black woman. Um, And unfortunately, that person is going to get slack because people are going to just say, oh, well, you only got it because of your skin color. So their achievement is going to be downgraded. And I have no doubt that they'll deserve it, whoever they are, but they're always going to be tied with, oh, well, you got it for charity. And that's the side effect of this whole campaign. I actually think it's going to hurt the black community more because all it's going to do is present them as victims. There's been a few videos from black people that I sort of half agree with, although I don't like the way they're going about it. But what they're saying is it shouldn't be a case of black people um, begging the white man for his awards. That's as they put it. Now, I wouldn't use the same language, and I don't see it that way. However, they have a point insofar as there are already black ceremonies, for example, for black music. It's not to say that those ceremonies have never had whites or non-black winners, but the same argument could be made. They are overwhelmingly black. Now, the BET Awards, I know there have been white winners, but the majority have been black. So it's the same with the Oscars. The vast majority of Oscars have been given to white people. I concede that. Someone said there was 2,950 awards ever given since 1929. 32 have been to black people. Now, clearly, that is extremely disproportionate, given that the black population in America is about 16%. So, if you do the maths, it would be it should be several hundred black nominees or winners. But I don't believe in quotas, and I believe first and foremost it has to be about ability. So, by making the Oscars about race, it kind of it turns it into something that it shouldn't be, and that is why I think this campaign is so misguided, because all they are doing is creating more division and creating. I don't really know what people like Spike Lee want with this. Do they want a situation where there's a 50-50 quota? Do they want white people to constantly flagellate themselves with self guilt, which I don't think is a particularly honourable position to take? I just think that if there are issues regarding opportunities for black actors, that should, of course, be addressed. But saying blanket statements like the Oscars are racist, it's just rubbish. If the Oscars was institutionally racist, there would never have been black winners. There would never have been black nominees. But we have Halle Berry, Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, and there's others. And, that wasn't tokenism. They got there from their own achievements. I mean, Jamie Foxx is a great actor. I saw the film Ray, and he fully deserved that award. So it's also patronising to black people who have taken part. I mean, that's the other side effect of this. It's a bit like feminists forcing women to agree with them because they are women. I think any black person who takes a different stance on this and say, oh, it's a fuss over nothing, are going to be accused of being like traitors. And it's just sad that in the year 2016, so much of American life, and I'm not saying it's only America, but it is obvious in America, is dictated by someone's skin pigmentation. Like, you whites, you blacks, and I'm so fed up with it. I think America's a great country, but this is one aspect that would probably really frustrate me if I was living there. The fact